Welcome back to Beers and Boss Battles. Today's episode, hosted by me, Troy, and this guy, Rob, we're going to be talking about 1, our favorite kind of beer, 2, our top 5 favorite beers,
And you're going to watch Rob pick his nose.
3,
Rob picking his nose.
Rob picking his nose, 4, our top 5 favorite video games, and lastly, does drinking actually make you better at playing video games? So I wanted to say to everybody that's listening or viewing this, I know right now there's a crisis going on. There's this huge pandemic and everybody's in a quarantine state all across the world. And I know that a lot of places are looking to open back up and things are going to change sooner than later. But I want you to understand from us right here, from the bottom of our hearts, we really hope that you're taking care of yourself, that you're taking care of your families, that you're being safe, and you are practicing some type of social distancing. It's important now more so than ever, and we only hope the best.
Okay. So for everybody who was talking about, like, oh, you guys didn't even talk about beer. Let's leave it at this. For our first one, we're kind of just, it's a big learning experience. We're kind of just trying to learn as we go. This is probably for the next couple months. I mean, realistically, it's probably going to take a couple months to get it to a point where it's really professional. It's a lot more segmented. It kind of is working and flowing in a really good way. That was our first test run. We're kind of like, work with us and we'll work with you. It's kind of like that. Like we're going through the motions. We're trying to get better as we go. And the first one, yeah, we actually did have some beer. We talked about beer a little bit, but between editing and different things, we lost it. So it wasn't in there. And people were asking, well, it's beers and boss battles. Why is it not? Yeah, I didn't see nothing about beer. Hopefully we made up for that in this video. We talked about beer. We showed you some of the beer we're drinking. It's more a games podcast. We want to be honest in that it's really game centric, but the whole beer thing is kind of like, it's kind of just what we're about. Like we like having beer. We like relaxing, hanging with our friends. So it's not really a beer podcast, but it's more a video game podcast, but this is what we're about. We like hanging out with our friends, having some beer.
With the occasional guest star of some fine quality beer and the topic of conversation, maybe sometimes involving beer. I think that's.
But if you're coming here like thinking like these are beer connoisseurs or beer snobs, or
I'm not that guy.
That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. Not yet. I mean, maybe like in 10 years we'll be at that level, but we're not there right now. Right now it's game centric. But what we liked about the name is that it's beers and boss battles. So we're buddies hanging out, having a beer, talking about boss battles. That's talking about video games, not boss battles. Talking about video games, we thought boss battles really encompasses gaming. You know, when you think gaming, you think boss battles right from the very beginning of gaming. And that's kind of what it was more about. So I just wanted to touch on that quick. Yeah. But it's really more a gaming podcast. We will talk about whatever we want. With the beer part's more to just indicate, kind of that we like to relax, hang out, and talk.
Okay, so let's start off. What is your favorite beer and why?
Oh man, you want to take it off or you want to start? Or
No, I would love to hear what you have to say and why. I'm interested because I'm going to say it might be Guinness.
No, it's not Guinness. I mean, no? Guinness is definitely like in my top 10 probably. I don't think I have a favorite beer because there's so many different kinds of beers that are really good for different reasons and different scenarios. Like if I'm, having a barbecue, I'd like something like a Bud Light with lime, even though people like to hate on it. That's a refreshing beer, really nice when you're having a barbecue or something like that. Sure. If I'm going to my buddy's house and I'm going to be drinking beer all day, I'll drink Budweiser or I'll drink, Coors or something. I don't care. But if I want to sit down and have a nice meal, maybe if I go out to a restaurant and I order a steak, I'm probably going to get a Guinness with it. Or maybe if I go to a bar, I'm going to try and see whatever, local breweries they have, local brews that they have, IPAs, different kind of beers and test it out. So I don't have a favorite, but if I'm going to kind of pick one, I'm going to say my go-to beer that is like a good beer. And I can drink it anytime and you can drink quite a few of them and they don't get old is Fat Tire by New Belgium.
Yeah.
That's a really good go-to beer. I love those. I can drink those for hours. And they're good at like all times of year. Like I could drink them in the summer, I could drink them in the winter. So if I'm going to pick one, I don't actually have a favorite beer, but I'll go with that one for now. That's like kind of like a good, it's way better than like a regular Budweiser or Coors or some standard beer, but it's also not like some crazy IPA that you got at a local, brewery. So
Yeah,
go.
I mean, it's very much like that where every beer is made for different situations. I feel like beer, there's no one beer that is universally the best because every beer fits a different kind of scenario. So, as you said, right, like you have um like a Bud Light Lime, which people might shit on, but it is refreshing when you're at a barbecue or you're doing something like
And
that.
if you're going to drink a bunch of them, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to
Yeah,
drink them for a few hours, you're not going to get an upset stomach. You're not going to feel incredibly bloated. Like it's light. It's something that's good
yeah.
for almost like a session beer. You know,
Yeah.
it's good for if you're going to be drinking for an extended period.
Well, I was gonna say that too, right? So you have session beers. So, but even in
Yeah.
session beers, you have different things that, yet again, fit those different scenarios depending on what it is you're doing. Also, really depending on who you're with.
Oh,
Because,
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
because I mean, when you think about if you're in a more comfortable crowd and you're in a more, let's for lack of better words, say an intimate kind of setting, something a little bit closer, something a little bit smaller. You're hanging out at your boy's house, and whatever. There's a couple of people, and you guys are, but it's all a circle that that you're affiliated with. Um, when you're in that, I feel like there's a beer for that. There's also a beer for when you go out and you party and you're not in such a familiar crowd, and it is like a more stranger environment to you. So I think it depends on what you're feeling at the time. I think for me, if we're talking like session beers, things that you're gonna drink over and over, like you said, like a long period of time, you don't want to have to worry about like I'm gonna get really bloated or I'm gonna feel sick or I'm gonna get too drunk too quick. I
Yeah.
think Bud Light is probably that go-to for me. Um, I'd say for if if we're
If you're
talking,
gonna pick like a little better quality beer, like that's what I
yeah,
pick Fat Tire because that's kind of somewhere in between. Like I could drink a bunch of them, but I'm not gonna like buy those every week. But I could probably have them every week and I'd enjoy them. But I feel like that's a good quality beer, but it's not like some crazy. Like look, I'm not actually. Let's cover that real quick. So what are you drinking right now?
I am drinking Money by Barrier, and that is brewed and canned at Barrier Brewing Company in Oceanside, New York. That's what
Awesome.
I'm drinking right now, and the fucking design is dope.
Yeah.
That's really
Is
dope.
that from the same company that you have gotten a bunch from? Because I feel like that artwork, like I've seen a bunch of that kind of artwork and it looks awesome.
Well, I don't actually. You know what? I'd have to like look. A lot of times when I go to Noggin,
Yeah, give a
I'll
shout out to Noggin, by the
yeah,
way,
shout
too,
out to Beer Noggin, bro. Beer Noggin is the spot.
in
Uh,
Bronxville, New York.
yeah, also New York, so that's a thing. Two, actually, two in New York, one in Bronxville and one in Mount Kisco.
Oh, they got two. Okay, awesome.
They just opened up recently, so they're the best. But every time I do go in there, I ask the guys there because everybody that I know, I like to see what their opinions are. I mean, obviously these are guys that know a lot more about beer than I'll ever know and like ever have an interest of knowing, but they know what I'm into because a lot of times I'll have that feedback for them and I'll tell them right off the rip, like if
They know what you're gonna like. They
yeah,
kind
so
of
they
have
have
a
an
read
idea
for
of
you.
my palate. Yeah, yeah, like they
Mm.
know exactly what I'm looking to get when I want to get an IPA. They know what I like in terms of the stouts, like that kind of thing. Um, and but even in that, right? So when I go there, I usually trust their choices, their picks because they're so good with understanding that with like that
That's
thing that
their
we were just
world.
talking about, that
Yeah.
environment that you're in. They understand this kind of setting. They think about all those things and they take that into consideration when they make that on tap list. Now, not to say that there's beers that every beer in there fits that situation. I mean, they offer Miller High Life, and Miller High Life could be a party beer. That's more of a session
Mm.
beer. That's something I could drink. I love Miller High Life. You know what? That's actually something. Let's kind of rewind a little bit. If I was saying about session beers, usually it's Bud Light. But that's also because the people that I hang out with usually drink Bud Light. That's what they
Well,
drink.
yeah, that's what we were saying. It depends on who you're with. Like if I'm with my
Yeah,
uncle, shout out to my uncle. He's got like an amazing taste in beer. He's kind of like he helped groom my taste in beer from, as soon as I could drink. Like so like when I'm with him, we're drinking most of the time we're drinking good quality beers, different IPAs, different Samuel Adams, Saranaks, local places like Broken Bow Brewery. Shout out to them. They're in Tuckahoe, New York. Captain Lawrence, another New York brewery. That's the beer I'm drinking today, by the way. I haven't had this one, so we're going to see how this is. I'm going to open it right now. But yeah, when I'm with him, man, we drink really good quality beer. But yeah, if we're with our buddies, it's a different story. Or if you're going to add a barbecue or if you're at a party, it's always going to be a little different. And let's get this out of the way too. We're not beer connoisseurs. We're not beer, pros. I'm not going to pretend I'm like some high and mighty beer snob. I could drink Budweiser. I could drink Bud Light. I could drink Coors. I could drink this beer. I'll drink everything, man. I have my preferences, and if you're going to ask me what's a better beer, I'm always going to give it to these better beer companies, but I can drink all of it, man. I'm not like one of those beer snobs. So I don't want anyone to get that impression that like I'm a beer snob or I'm a beer connoisseur.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about beer,
I'm the same way. That's what I'm saying. I don't even begin to think that that's a level of knowledge that I'm ever going to have. And then maybe someday I just randomly decide to look up a ton of shit and find out. But like with everything, there's also
it's really good.
That's good, yeah. It looked good. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's really good. It has like a really good aftertaste too. And like the hop, it's very hoppy, obviously. Like it's literally called Hop Commander IPA.
Pull that back. Yeah, I was gonna say pull that back on screen real quick.
Yeah.
Hop Commander. Yeah, that looks fucking good, dude.
No, dude, I don't know if you've had Captain Lawrence before, but they've been around for years and they're really good. Like my uncle used to go to their brewery and like taste test new beers that they had. And so he turned me on to them. They're freaking awesome. Like everything from them that I've had is great.
Yeah, dude. No, that beer that like actually looks super good.
I got my coaster too. Look at this.
So now
rogue beer.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking. Wait, hold on. Pull that back up.
Rogue, but this is, I forget the name of this beer, but I've had this a bunch of times and it's good.
That's dope. I see that.
Oh, Dead Guy Ale. It literally says it. I'm an idiot. Dead Guy Ale. It's a good beer. I've had.
That's dope though. That I like. See, that's one thing I really like about the beer industry now is it's not even just the crazy IPA companies. It's a lot of companies now that provide a different take on beer. So what I'm saying is when you think of beer, I think naturally most people would probably get the image of like the Budweiser logo or the Stella logo or Heineken or
just like the mug with the frothy top, like in their mind. Yeah.
Brand name, I don't really, unless you're into that kind of thing and you have that level of knowledge, you're usually probably stuck in your ways. And I think most people, maybe the majority that drink beer don't really care. They probably just drink a Corona or something like that.
They kind of have their go-to, whatever it is.
So kind of like I was saying, wrapping back to the knowledge thing, with those guys, they take everything into consideration and they're thinking about the scenario that you're in. And so the beers, like I said, there might be beers that are outside of that, but they've really, they turn me on too, man. They put me on a lot of great IPAs. This is one of them. It's super hazy and it's not like, it's just dank, dude. It's not like pop. Like I don't mind like really poppy IPAs, like where you have just so many flavors going on. They're kind of bursting at you. I don't mind that. I don't know. Part of me, I guess it's
not your preference. Like that's not what you're looking for specifically. It's kind of like, it's okay, but it's not what you're going for.
I kind of go for just hazy kind of beer. But like I said, they've had a great selection, and so like a lot of times with them when I go in and I'll just, because these are guys that know and they know the kind of stuff that I'm into and they obviously understand like what I'm buying here. They usually point me in the right direction in terms of like, okay, we have all that, but this is maybe something you should try, something you never had. This is like, and dude, they've really helped, kind of the same way you were saying with your uncle, and just giving you at least a sense of direction and what's good and what's high quality and where to find it, what companies to go to. That's definitely one of them. But the art, dude, the art on so many of these companies is fucking insane.
And let's be real, man. I mean, the art. I don't hear you, man. You cut out.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Yeah. I was going to say, it's funny about the art too, because let's be real. When you're going around, there's literally 1,000 different companies you could buy beer from, especially if you're going to like a really good place that's got tons of beer, not when you're like at the supermarket. How do you know what to pick? I mean, if you like, yeah, I like Captain Lawrence, so I know I'm going to look at their stuff. But like, if you're totally new to a beer company and you've never had it and you don't know what it is, I mean, let's be honest. Artwork does play a big role. And I got to say, all those beers that I had down when I went to, what's that place called again in Bronxville? What is it?
Beer Noggin.
Beer Noggin. Yeah, everything I had there, like every can of beer had like incredibly cool art. So I actually think that's super cool that not only are these companies coming up with really cool beers, local beers, but they also have like this badass art that kind of makes you want to be like, okay, I'll give that a go. Let's see what that's about.
You know what I like too? That a lot of these companies, although they're not the main store-bought companies, like I said, most people are really more or less stuck in their ways. They kind of probably just drink whatever. When you begin to get to the point where you're like, I want something better, yeah, and for whatever reason, I just want something that I can just chill at home, do a podcast with my buddy and drink a beer too. So like that's this kind of beer. I think this is like a great IPA.
Yeah, next time I see you, I'll get. I got to have that.
Yeah, and it's just it's one of those things though. You when you get into that level and you start trying some of these, let's say newer companies, some of these like almost off-brand. That's like really where the quality is. And it's crazy because you don't think about that. And then when you find it, it's not, like you said, it's not even just the quality of the beer. Like they're providing great artwork and putting a lot of time into their beers. Like, and there's some crazy stuff, man. Just they're being more experimental than any of these other beer companies will ever be because they have to hold to a standard. And not saying that they don't, but they hold to a different standard. They're always going to meet quality, but they're also going to be willing to push the boundaries a little bit, try something new,
experiment a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's cool too because it's almost like you're fighting for the little guy. You know what I mean? Like there are all these different local breweries coming out,
Yep.
and not only are they making really great beer, but they're cool artwork that hopefully maybe they paid an artist to make. And now that artist, a local artist, is getting a little bit of, making a little bit of money off of that, or maybe their artwork's getting out there. So the whole thing is kind of cool. Like you want to root for these guys,
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Okay, let's expand now. So now we kind of talked about our beer. I don't think even I've touched on this. I think my main go-to for the overall, although I don't think that there's universally a great, like the perfect beer, but if someone limited me to one option and they were like, you can only
for the next year, you can only drink this beer
for the rest of your life. I sound like such a fucking kill, but I'm gonna have to say like Stella. It's good enough. It's good enough.
I hate Stella.
I know you do. I know you do. It's good enough for session beer, but it's also a sports beer you can have when you go to a ball game, and I think that's cool for me. I really like something about that is just my thing. And it has enough of a punch to it. Like you burn through a 6-pack of Stella, like you might catch a buzz. Obviously that's also dependent on tolerance. But anyways, now that we're moving past that, let's talk about the top 5 beers in your list. Top 5, and let's make this. I'm gonna make this.
Well, wait. Let's preface it like this: top 5 right now. What's today? I don't know what the date is. Let's look at the date. All right, it's the 30th of April. So as of April 30th, right now, our top 5 beers.
Top 5, and just like what we drink in the most, what we like the most, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So I'll kick this one off. I'm gonna say right now, number 1, my favorite beer to drink is Broken Skull IPA by El Segundo. That is like fucking prime IPA.
Is that one of the ones I had when I went to your house? I don't know. I had so many different ones at your house, and they were all freaking awesome.
Well, that was okay. So that was what I did. I bought like this variety pack almost. But no, I forget now. I don't know if you had it, but that's number 1. It's made by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. That's like actually really cool.
Inspiration for that beer. So
wow, and it's a good beer.
And it's fucking dope. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I didn't even know that. That's freaking cool.
Yeah. So, and I'd say number 2 is Conehead IPA, the one I was showing you yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like this blue, or the 2 days ago, whatever it was. The blue can. It has like a yellow logo on it. There's a bird on it. I'd say thirdly, I'll throw in the Stella. I have to do it.
All right.
Number 4 is what? I know I think it's called Tools of the Trade, or maybe that's the company name. Anyways, it's Tools of the Trade is the name of the beer. Industrial Arts, I think, is the name of the company that makes
Okay.
beer. That's definitely my number 4. Solid. I love that beer. It's I don't know, all around it's just really good. It's got a good body. It's smooth. Um, Number 5, I'm gonna go with Miller High Life.
Yeah, for the record, we didn't like come up with this ahead of time. Like I'm trying to, that's why if it looks like I'm busy looking up stuff. I'm trying to like, okay, well, I know the companies I like, but like now I'm trying to narrow it down to the beers. So I'm trying to figure it out as we go.
I'd say my last one is Miller High Life.
Miller High. Oh.
Yeah.
That's another one I don't like. I like, so 2 on your list I don't like. Hey man, that's what makes the world go around, man. We don't all have to like the same stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so know what I'm gonna go with. You probably already know. We'll start off the Fat Tire by New Belgium. I'm gonna go with that one. Budweiser, not Bud Light, not Bud Light with lime, not just regular Budweiser. A lot of people hate on it. I like Budweiser. I drink it pretty regularly. The other one I'm going to go with is Saranac, which is another New York company. They're not really a super small brewery. They're pretty big. But I'm trying to narrow it down to like a beer, because know what it is? When I find a company that I like, I usually just I'll try a bunch of different seasonal beers. So, you know, they put out their spring beers, their summer beers, their fall beers, and their winter beers. And I like pretty much all of them. So I'm like, right now I'm like on the internet trying to look up and see a specific one. You know what? I'm not going to go with a specific one. I'm just going to say Saranac beers. They're seasonal beers I love. So that's 3. Leinenkugel, another company. I don't even know if you've heard of them, but their beers are amazing. I love their beers. And then 5, I'm going to go with Samuel Adams. And I'm not picking a specific beer because you caught me off guard and I don't have like my list ready, but obviously not all of the beers from those companies, but many of their seasonal beers are amazing. So Fat Tire, Budweiser, Saranac, Leinenkugel, Samuel Adams, those are my top 5. At least companies. Maybe I didn't come up with a beer, but company. So
Okay. I mean, I think that's fair though, because if you say the company name, most likely the first thing that's going to come to mind is their main beer. So whatever. Let's just say that was your main beer. But either way, the companies as a whole, those are your things. I mean, yeah, okay, so Sam Adams is one of those ones I'm iffy about. For whatever reason, and I don't know that there's any specific thing that I could point out that I don't like about Samuel Adams. It's just that whenever I think Samuel Adams, I oftentimes think Boston Lager, and quite frankly, although I would drink Boston Lager if there's nothing else, most of the time I'm not going to drink Boston Lager. If there's anything else really, I'll probably go to that first. Outside of like Heineken. Heineken's another one that kind of falls to the wayside for me.
yeah, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. Samuel Adams and Heineken are like right there, dude. Like that's exactly what I feel about those beers. Those beers are not bad. They're not like the worst things I've ever had. It's one of those things like if
you're not going out of your way for them.
Yeah, and if you had told me that I wasn't gonna ever have it again, I'm not gonna be upset. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, like, for Samuel Adams, I would say the Samuel 76. I don't know if you've had that. That's like a go-to for me. Like, I can have that. But then again, I keep going back to the seasonal stuff. So what do we got here? The winter lager is really good. Cold Snap's really good. Obviously, we're past that. For spring, I don't know. The Porch Rocker. That one's pretty dang good.
I have to try that.
Yeah, maybe one day. Next time I see you, maybe I'll bring some and you'll see. Because they don't all taste the same. So, like, if you're thinking Boston Lager, they don't all taste like that. So, yeah. Oh, Rebel IPA is pretty good. Have you had that?
No, man, I haven't. No, I
you
never.
Might like that because you like IPAs, and yeah. I feel like you weren't always into IPAs, right? That's kind of more in the last couple of years or the last year.
Yeah, I was more into. As sad as it is to say, like, I wasn't even into beer the way that I am now. Like now I really have an affinity towards certain companies, towards certain types of beers. IPAs, one of them.
Yeah, you've stepped up your beer game.
Yeah.
Alcohol game.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I hit those early gains for my beer game.
Well, look at this. Here, this is a meme I made. Yeah, kind of inspired over when I went to Troy's house one day, and they're like, "Pick me up White Claw," and I'm one of those like, "Hey, I'll admit it, I'm a hater. I'm a hater." And like I've had them. I
Yeah,
don't think it tastes bad, but it's so watery to me. I don't get it. But this is like a little meme that I made. I don't know if you could see it on the screen.
you have to tap. I think you have to like adjust it or something, man. Yeah, it's.
It's
I
not
know
working,
what
but
it is. I know what it is, but they are not gonna.
they can't see it.
Yeah, dude. I'm actually more happy that they can't see it because I don't. It's like I'm not even like proud of it. It's right there. It's
oh, there it is.
yes, when you come through with White Claw for your basic bitch homies. Yeah, it's a bunch of White Claw cans. It's a fucking White Claw pack.
Yeah, that was made inspired when I went to his house and his brother, because they're two of my best friends. I went to their house and they're like, "Pick me up some White Claw." I'm like, "All right, I'll pick you up some White Claw, but I'm gonna make fun of you."
But see, here's the thing. This kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I only ever really drank. I didn't have a preference. If I drank to get drunk. I drank to drink. Like
the feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and then that was really all it was. And that's why I really didn't drink on the regular, or at least often enough to have even like a preference, you know? So
yeah.
I think as I've started to develop more of a palate for beer and as I've started to kind of evolve out of that shell, I've definitely taken a liking to IPAs because I think because I feel like IPA is the most malleable version of beer right now in terms of like what you can do with it.
I think people are experimenting with it more too. That's the other thing. So you kind of have that consistent hoppy taste with the IPA, but people are doing so many different things with it that like, yeah, I mean, I would almost say people are kind of getting tired of it in the beer world. People are like, IPA, okay, we get it. Like it's almost like a fad the last so many years. But I don't view it like that. I view it kind of the way you're talking, where it's like, it's kind of a go-to for me, IPAs, because people are experimenting with IPAs so much. And like almost every time I go and get one of these IPAs, I end up enjoying it because all these companies are like, we're going to get behind this and we're going to do different things with it. And I end up liking it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I really do enjoy that part of it. I enjoy the fact that there's companies out there that are willing to experiment and get a little freaky with what they're doing. And for me, as someone who's as I said, just developing a real taste and knack for beer, getting into that almost a hobby, as like most people would call it, I've begun to at least appreciate what's happening in that side of the beer world with the IPAs and a lot of these smaller companies that are doing different things and trying, it's the same. It's weird. It's the same way with food for me. I mean, over the past couple of years, and I guess that's just through life and kind of try different things. And so, even in that realm, I'm trying all types of new shit. Like I was never into seafood. And then the past couple of years, I've been really.
That's actually a good point, man. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Keep going.
No. It was just really that. I've opened those doors for myself because I know normally I'm not going to, but kind of trying to work out of that comfort zone and develop taste for things that I didn't have in the past. So.
Yeah, same here, man. Actually, my girlfriend is the one who got me into seafood. So shout out to Lena. Even like sushi, man. I was not into sushi. Now I freaking love it.
I'm not there yet. I've had sushi.
You're not?
I've had sushi.
Oh man, have you had like tempura? So it's actually fried, so it's not raw. So maybe you might like that more.
No, I mean, you know what it is with sushi? Sushi falls into this weird understanding of.
Dude, I'm drinking this way too fast.
I was like burning through this. I was like, all right, let me. No.
Everybody's seeing our true colors here.
Yeah, that's good, man. No, with seafood, it's weird, man. I have this weird understanding of it. So the problem with seafood, I actually heard this off of a joke from, you know who Jim Gaffigan is, the comedian?
Yeah.
So I heard it off one of his jokes. It was like essentially implying that all people eat seafood, but yet they do everything in their power to make it not taste like seafood. And that is.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
With sushi, it falls back into that where I feel everybody dumps it in wasabi sauce or wasabi mustard or soy sauce or whatever.
Soy sauce for me, yeah.
Just to make it taste like that as opposed to the actual thing that you're eating. So for me, And yes, you could say that, okay, well, all things that are really good get garnished or have a sauce. I get that, but it doesn't encompass the entire taste with a sauce, especially when we're talking about like
Here's
wasabi.
what I will say. You're definitely right. I'm not going to disagree with you, but like there are plenty of different rolls that I'll get where I don't even really use soy sauce, like rainbow rolls, or even a salmon roll. Like I don't have to put it in soy sauce. I could have a salmon roll by itself, which is literally seaweed wrap, rice, and salmon, and it's freaking great. Tempura rolls, you don't need soy sauce. You don't need anything. Like if you get like my go-to is like a shrimp tempura roll. That is so good by itself. You don't need anything else. Maybe one night, we would go on a double date, maybe. Me
Yep.
and Lena and you and Dina, and we'll go to a sushi place, and I'll give you a couple pointers because I'm like you, dude. Like it was not my thing, and now I freaking love it.
All right.
So maybe we can convert you.
This is what I'm saying. I'll be willing
We
to
can
do it.
convert you.
I'll be willing to do it. I just can't guarantee that I'll be like with it. I like 100%.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I'll be willing though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to experiment.
So what kind of seafoods do you like then?
I like salmon. I like shrimp. I like lobster. I like crab. I do enjoy mussels from time to time.
Yeah, see clams and mussels. I'm like, it's the
It's the
consistency. They're
texture
so
that kills me.
slimy.
That exactly. It's
That's
the
what I don't
texture.
like.
It's not the food itself or how it tastes. So that's a weird thing with me too. I'm very big on textures of food. So the taste can be right, but if the texture doesn't match the taste in the right way, I just feel like it's not for me. So with eggplant, for instance, a lot of times when you cook eggplant, it gets like mushy. It's like applesauce. I don't like that. I like the taste of eggplant. I just don't like that. It gets
I haven't had eggplant that was like applesauce. I don't know who's making eggplant for you.
no, it just like naturally, unless you fry it or you like bake it in some type of way, it like naturally with heat, it gets mushy.
I mean, it does get mushy. Yeah, mushy. I know. I see what you're saying.
Well, that's like
I do like eggplant, though. I will admit, I do like it.
But that's what kills it for me because it's the taste is great. But anyways, so
yeah,
whatever. Seafood and beer, they're not. There are things I've opened myself up to, but I'll say beer, I'm probably more open than anything. Seafood, I'm inching my way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, dude. And I feel like that's what happens as we get older. We kind of evolve into, but even just in our ways of thinking, whether it's like philosophy, religion, politics, whatever it is, we're ever changing. We're not, I mean, typically I think when you get to a certain point, some people kind of stagnate, but I feel like especially at our age, we're kind of still in a spot where we're still kind of growing and learning. And so it's kind of a cool spot to be.
To be fair though, I think if we're talking about that, I'm gonna ask you a heavy question. Get ready. It's gonna be real heavy. So, yep, it looks good. It looks good.
Captain Lawrence, baby.
I think to be fair though, most people, and I think that's regardless of age, are still in a growing phase. If you're that kind of person, if you're someone that tries to be progressive in the right ways, I think you're always going to be at a spot in your life where you're willing and able to learn more, develop, and change things about yourself. So, it's really just about the kind of person you are. I think some people are stuck in their ways from the time that they're 12. Some people get stuck in their ways by the time that they're 40, but then there's other people that there are other people that are willing to adapt a little bit more and try to change and not even to acclimate or anything, just learn, based on what they're experiencing and things in their life, that there's more room for growth than maybe it seems.
But some people are better at it than others,
To diverge, I'm going to diverge here.
Okay.
Because I need to ask you, this is my heavy question. And this is one of our topics, but I say this with great concern for your mental aptitude because this question.
Where is this going?
It's a rough one, okay? What is your favorite top 5 video games?
Oh, that's not a rough one.
That is
okay. So here's what we're gonna.
Much to be considered here, dude. We're talking about like presence of time, or like where we're at versus like nostalgia versus like dude. There's so much to take into consideration here. This better be a rough question.
Well, are we doing all-time list or are we doing like current?
Okay, no.
Because all time list, I can give you answers pretty quick.
No, we're gonna talk about right now. Right now, dude. What is your top five?
All right, so top five. Top five. All right. So you know what? I'm going to go out of the box here. I'm not going to start off with the stereotypical answers. I'm going to go with Deep Rock Galactic. So I don't know if you've ever played this game.
That's the
It's
mining
literally,
game, right? Where you're like the four
yeah,
space dudes and you're like mining in the
you're
fucking.
dwarves. So literally, like you're like space dwarves, and like you literally fly to these planets. And literally, the idea of the mission is it's a 4-player co-op mission. If you have 4 players, you can play with less. And pretty much you have a goal. So it might be to mine this kind of ore, or it might be to mine that kind of ore. It might be to get like some sort of mule. Mules are like these robotic things that carry the ore for you back to your ship. It might be to get mules running again that are damaged. So there's different missions. So you land in this planet, you got to mine different ore, do different objectives. And while you're doing this, you're getting attacked by these crazy monsters that are just like attacking from all over the place. You get hit by hordes, crazy big boss battles. If anybody hasn't seen it or played it, go look it up. It's freaking awesome. It's Deep Rock Galactic. It's an early access game, so it's not like out yet. It's still being worked on. Like it's a work in progress, but a freaking awesome game. So I'm going to start with that one.
Jack actually showed me that game.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Dude, like way.
It's been in early access for years, dude.
Well, I was going to say, he told me
Yeah.
about it way back when. Maybe 2 years ago?
He has it?
No, but it's random. He finds
saw
out
it and he thought it was cool.
he finds out about these wild new games, and he just always somehow finds a way to work it into the conversation. Like he remembers these things and just he throws it in. He'll be like, "Oh well, yeah, Call of Duty's great, but this new game coming out, and I don't even know about it. I don't even know. I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah,
wow,
yeah.
No, well, even though if you want to play, dude, it's good. I don't know how much money it is. I bought it years ago, like kind of like when it first was in early access. But it's really fun, different, fun. The graphic style is kind of almost like everything almost looks carved. So I don't know what engine they're using or what they're doing, and you can tell it's kind of like an indie game. It's a smaller developer, but it's really cool. Now we're going to go back to a stereotypical game. So we got Fortnite. I'm going to get a bunch of haters probably for picking Fortnite, but Fortnite, since it came out in beta, before it was even popular like Fortnite, I've been playing Fortnite since it came out, the Battle Royale version. I just think it's a fun game. It evolves, and there's nothing like it. All the building mechanics, all of that, there's nothing like it. So if you want that, you have to play Fortnite. And I think it's in a really good spot right now. I think it's pretty fun. It's not perfect. It has its problems, but Fortnite. Obviously, Warzone. We've been playing that a crap ton.
You're leaving that at your number 3, huh? That's the number 3 right now?
I'm not going in order. I'm just picking 5.
Okay. So I thought we were going 5
in order?
3 to 2 to 1.
Oh.
Because before we counted from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So I figured now we'll do it in reverse. I actually thought based on how you were, because I didn't think Deep Rock Galactic was going to be your number 1. So I was like, that's got to be an.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even thinking in a numerical. I was just picking top 5, but I wasn't in order. I wasn't thinking in order. So if we're gonna do in order, I'm gonna put Fortnite at 5 then right now, because I'm digging Fortnite. I'm having fun with Fortnite. I love Fortnite, but it's been around forever. They've done some crazy cool things with it lately. Yeah, 5 might be rough though. I don't know. Now I feel bad. I feel weird putting it into numbers.
You have to. I explained my list before was based numerically.
Yeah.
That was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, man.
All right. So here. Let me start over then. Okay. So at 5, we're going with Phantasy Star Online 2. So that's in beta right now. It's released. It's a game that actually came out in Japan years ago, but it was never released to the Western audiences, Europe or America. I'm digging that game. I think it's fun. It's kind of mindless. It's fun to just, if you want to relax, hang with your homies, play some games, not worry about crazy competitiveness. It's a good game. So I'll pick that for 5. Then I'll go Deep Rock for 4, Deep Rock Galactic for 4. Then I'll go with Fortnite for 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go with, I'm trying to decide what I should do here. Am I going to go with, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, I'll do Warzone for number 2. Warzone's really good. But a game that I actually have a love-hate relationship with right now, I'm going to pick as number one just because I'm very impressed with the graphics, the story, the feel that it's captured, is the Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order. So I'm late to this game. It came out late in last year, but I just started playing it recently. The gameplay I'm a little iffy on because I guess people are calling it Baby Souls, so it's kind of like a Dark Souls kind of combat system, which I'm not a big fan of. You got to go to these meditation spots and heal, and it can be very frustrating when you're fighting in combat. You can get attacked by like 5-6 enemies that are all spam attacking you. You got to block, dodge. It can be frustrating, but I'll go with that as number one because the graphics and the story and everything, like it captures Star Wars so well that I'm very impressed with it from that aspect. The gameplay, I'm a little iffy on. Like, here's the other thing. If you want to rest, get all your health back, they respawn all the enemies. So there's things about the game that, like, I get some people respect it and like it, but I don't know if it's my thing. But I'm going to give kudos to them. So I'll go with that for number one. Warzone number two. What was Fortnite was number three, or was it number four?
Number
three? Three. And then Deep Rock Galactic was 4, and 5 was Phantasy Star.
Pretty sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it.
That was close enough. Okay.
Good enough. And that's for right now. If you know what, maybe on a different podcast we'll do of all time. Because that list will be that'll be a lot. I'd like to have.
But that list is totally different, man. That's like a totally different
beast. Yeah, it's a different beast.
Yeah. Okay, so number 5 for me. I'm going to give the same answer. I'm going to say Phantasy Star Online 2. I'm going to give you a reason why I love it and a reason why, I wouldn't say hate it. I would say reason why it sits at number 5. So reason why I love it.
It's old.
No, it's actually not that. It's not that. So, and it's not even like a good, okay, before I get there, I'm going to say it's not a great reason why it's at number 5, but it is what it is. Number 1 would be that I get to play with my friends. You can enjoy the time spent. Like you said, you don't have to feel super competitive and try to get sweaty. It's just a game that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And being
kind of grind if you're in the mood for like a grind.
Yeah.
Grinding, completing levels, getting gear.
That RPG experience, but not being limited to just yourself. So which is why I like a lot of MMOs. I'd say number 4. That's tough. Number 4 right now, because right now I'm very limited. Like, I'm in a weird stage where I'm only playing so many things. I'm not really venturing much outside of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say number 4, let's go with Siege. I'm going to go with Siege.
Okay.
Siege, I say that because as much as I find myself not playing it, it's one of those games where every time I do decide to go back, I fall in love again. I just like the mechanics and the shooting and how real there's a level of realism there. I was gonna say how realistic it is, but it's not really that realistic, obviously. But just in terms of those mechanics, how they apply in the game, and it's a game I devoted a lot of time myself into.
It's got a lot of staying power for a reason. I mean, like literally, they've been updating and supporting that game for what it's like 5 years or more, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's been 5 years. Yeah, that game, and has a big what do you call it? I'm mind blanking here. Competitive gaming? What do you call it? Like
meta?
Yeah, but what I mean is like people compete in it for money. Esports. Esports. I couldn't think of what I was saying. Yeah, it's a big esports game for a reason. It still has going and staying power in esports for a reason.
Yeah, it does. No, it's huge on that. And it's probably one of the most high-level competitive games that there is. It's kind of, in a way, similar to CS:GO because of that. I mean, obviously, it's made by Tom Clancy. It's the same shit, but totally different games.
I don't think Counter-Strike is Tom Clancy.
Isn't it?
No, it's Valve. Valve made it, but I don't think Ubisoft owns, I think, all the Tom Clancy games. But I don't think it's Tom Clancy.
Well, for whatever
Either way, it's in the same. They're definitely in the same family.
Yeah, it's definitely been made with a lot of comparison too.
Yeah.
that game. A lot of people do compare it to CS:GO. A lot of people obviously compare it to Rainbow Vegas,
Yeah.
um, or Vegas 2. But anyways, what I was getting at is that's the kind of game. It's got a very core following. It's always going to be high on competitive scene, just like CS:GO. It's kind of in that same family of not just core followings and high tournament scene, but it's very unique. So even though CS:GO follows the same format and Siege just follow the same format in a lot of ways that other games do, they do it in such a way where it can't be replicated for its own reasons. And not just because it's a certain title. It's because of just the way that they.
Well, no, what's different too, like it's a class-based game, whereas Counter-Strike is like you're just in there, and depending on how well you do, you can buy weapons, which gives you an advantage. Like they're similar, but they're definitely very different.
And for good reasons, and then they're very different from other games as well. So not just even from each other, but just in terms of when you look at that general view of games, so yeah. So I'm gonna say Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. That's gonna be at my number.
We got Phantasy Star 5, Rainbow Six Siege 4.
Yep, I'm gonna
Now we're
say
moving on to 3.
is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh, dude. Such
Yeah,
an amazing game.
For like everything. I mean, and the only reason I'm even putting it in number 3 is because the other two games are just games that I play more frequently, and that's just what it is right now. The games that I'm just more in tune to get into right now. So I'd say Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is definitely really high on that list. Obviously, being at number 3, they do such a good job with everything. Everything about that game feels right, whether you're playing it on a big screen or you're playing it on your gamepad. It just provides exactly what you need for yourself and for others. You can play it in a large room of people with a large amount of people. It just really delivers on every end and is top to bottom perfect game. I'm going to say it. I give that game a 10 out of 10 any day.
I think I'm there with you, man. I think that if any game deserves a 10, why doesn't that game deserve a 10? Because if we're gonna critique it and come up with things that we don't like, I mean that list is so small. Like if you're gonna say that game isn't a 10, then you could argue no game should have a 10.
Yeah, exactly. And I think unfortunately I'd say most people think that way because a lot of games that I feel are deserving of 10s don't usually get 10. I'm gonna put a period right here in the conversation, and I'm gonna just touch on something because I know you played it recently, and I have very strong feelings about that game, and I think that it got ambushed.
I know where we're going with this one. All right.
Yes, you do. You definitely do. I'm gonna say it right now. Anthem was a lot better than people made it out to be. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm denying any of its flaws. I get it. I do 100%. But that game delivered a certain something that no game other delivered. And I got to give it credit there. I feel like it got fucking destroyed by critics and a bunch of e-news. It just kills me inside to know that game could have became something more, but only became a lot less because it never got the reception it deserved.
Well, so, not to come up with, I don't want to go off on a because we could literally talk about this for probably 3 hours. So I'm just going to keep this as short and sweet as possible. Everybody who's into hardcore gaming knows that this is something. So we have the hardcore gaming community. They can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And that's what happens with gaming. I don't care whether it's Destiny, whether it's Halo, whether it's Anthem, no matter what it is. You could have a game that in people's minds, they amp it up to be something that it ultimately isn't. And if they're disappointed, or if they feel the developers don't respond the way they want, or if they feel, any which way, they will turn on you with the venom and hatred that you would never think was possible. Like, the gaming community is capable of some of the greatest things possible and some of the worst things possible. And I'm not going to come up with excuses for Anthem. Like, I think Anthem didn't deliver. Even now playing it, it didn't deliver on what it was saying it was going to deliver on or what it could have. But if you had totally removed yourself and looked at the game for what it was, this is not a bad game. This is just a game that did not deliver on promises. This is a game that didn't live up to the hype. but there is fun to be had. This is a game that did have a developer behind it, BioWare, the people who made Mass Effect. I mean, a great developer. And you could see that worked into the game. I mean, the gameplay is very fun with the mech combat. It's very fluid, and you can upgrade your mech and get different weapons. And I'm not going to like completely come up with excuses for the game, but I mean, for someone to just completely say that the game is awful, and I'm not going to say go buy it day one for $60, but I feel like this happens a lot. Even Destiny 2. Like Destiny 2, I think was a fun game, was a good game. Was it perfect? No, I think they made a lot of mistakes along the way. The DLC, all the DLC that they came out for it, I feel like was overpriced, didn't really give you very much. And I feel like that had more to do with Activision than it did with Bungie, the developer of the game. But I feel like there's this thing in gaming, and I feel like everybody kind of knows it, where if you get really upset and you piss off that fan base, they're going to turn on you. And it's not going to be fair the way they attack you. It's going to be unfair. And that could go both ways, because they could be unfair in how much praise and love they give a game too. Like a game that really doesn't deserve as much love or hype or praise as it gets all this just because they played their cards right. But if you play those cards wrong, you're going to feel the wrath. And I feel like that could be a little rough sometimes in the gaming world. And that's part of what I love and hate about the gaming world is like, man, they will turn on you, but they will love you too and support you too. So it goes both ways, but that's a good point. Anthem, that game is a good representation of a game that did not live up to the hype, but probably didn't deserve the amount of wrath that it received.
Yeah, it's exactly, that is it in a nutshell and perfectly explained. That game was something that I
grant that I bought it for $8. I bought it for $8. So for me, I'm just getting fun out of it, and it's $8. I mean, if you spend $60 on it and you were pissed, I get it. But
yeah, and that's what I feel. I understand the point that people are trying to make with the game, and they're saying like this game could have been this, it wasn't that, and whatever. There was a lot of bugs. I get that, and I understand that as a gamer, as somebody who spends the time and invests money. But I do feel like that game provided something that a lot of games don't, and I think it had a mechanic that was really well executed. That was the flying, and the combat system was fun. It was just a lot of fun, and I don't think it deserved what it got. So
what I want to do, actually, super quick, because I don't want to keep this going forever. I'm going to give a contrary example of a game that deserved a lot more love and praise than it got. Titanfall 1. If you played Titanfall 1, it didn't have a story mode, which I get it. You wanted a story mode, which they gave us in Titanfall 2, which was awesome. But when you played that multiplayer game, for me, that was the most compelling, fun gameplay I had played probably since like Halo 2. I feel like with the wall running, the pilot combat mixed with the mech combat, I feel like that game was so amazing in the multiplayer component. Yes, you could attack it for not having a story, but that game deserved so much more credit and praise than it got. I feel like that's almost like a contrary example of a game that got a lot of hate but deserved praise and didn't get it. And I feel like that happens all the time too. I just wanted to throw that out there because it popped into my head. That game had the best gameplay in years.
It had even Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, amazing games for what
deserve more credit.
Does definitely deserve more. I think Titanfall 2 would be more alive than it is now too. I mean, don't get me wrong, you probably go on a server and still find people, but it's not, you haven't heard about Titanfall 3, so, you know, there's that.
I mean, they made, Apex, which Apex is good. Apex is a good game.
But it's not Titanfall. It's not Titanfall. You know?
It's not. It is good, but it's, I mean, that gameplay, dude, that fun factor was just insane in Titanfall. Like, it just felt right. It just felt right.
That's the thing. I really gravitate towards games where whether you're doing well or you're doing bad, you can have fun. I mean, you know me when I'm on, whether we're streaming or we're playing locally or
we're playing Game Beasts. I mean, how fun is a game like that? You know, a simple game.
But I'm always about that. I always just want to have fun. So, I'm going to move on here. So I got to say, so Super Smash Bros. 3 or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was at my number 3. And I stand by that 100%. That's just an amazing game. Number 2 for me right now I'm going to say Warzone. Warzone is something I spent a lot of time on. Obviously, we touched on it a lot in the first video. And it's always going to be that for me with Call of Duty. Not that Call of Duty is always going to sit at my number 2, but it's always going to be something I devote some kind of time to because I like Call of Duty a lot. Whether that's I've had times with World War II where I didn't have it hooked up for months and months and months, and prior to Modern Warfare coming out, we one time a couple months back we had hooked it up to my downstairs TV, and me and my buddies were playing that all the time. Every time we hung out, we just played World War II for whatever reason. But
the story was very good in that game.
Yeah, and I was always
the story.
The story was really they did a really good job. I mean, I'd say that game that was another game deserved more credit than it probably got. But the multiplayer was great, and then of course like Black Ops 4, I said that in the last video too. That was a game that I put a lot of time towards, probably more so than a lot of other games, or maybe not, if not the most that I've ever put into any singular game. But I'm gonna put number 1. I'm gonna give it to Fortnite. I gotta be honest. There's just something about it right now that's really captivated me in a major way. Whether it's.
Dude, I hate to do this. I gotta piss really bad.
No, do your thing. Do your thing.
I'm sorry, dude.
We can edit this shit. I fucked up.
You're good. You're good. Do your thing, man.
Bad, man.
No, you're good. So what was I saying? I was saying, yeah. So like
number 1.
Yeah. It's just the kind of game for me right now that provides enough fun, whether I'm playing by myself or I'm playing with other people, that I just can't seem to get rid of. I want to play it almost 24/7. It's on my mind. I think about like how much better I could get and what I could do potentially and the kind of games I could have. It's definitely something that's really prevalent on my mind. And, you know, everything's subject to change in this list. Of course, it depends on what's current and what's happening. I mean, there could be a game that comes out tomorrow that's just so fucking good, nobody stops playing it and everybody gets it. But that'd definitely be, I'd say for me, the top 5 list. Let's talk about.
Let's go over it real quick again. So Phantasy Star.
Okay.
And then what did you have?
It was Phantasy Star, Rainbow Six Siege, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Warzone, and then Fortnite.
Okay, cool.
So let's just kind of mosey on to this big thing, right? Now this is the real one. This is the beluga. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Do you play better when you drink? Hard. Okay. Very personal question. Very subjective, but it has to be asked, and you gotta wonder: is it true?
All right. So Troy, I'm gonna ask you on your personal opinion, based on when you're playing with me, and I'm telling you what I'm drinking. What do you think about me?
I think you hold yourself to the same limit that I do in terms of the drinking, and maybe unconsciously. I think you are really good when you're in this pocket, right? Have you ever seen Trailer Park Boys?
I know what it is. I haven't really watched it. No.
Well, there's an episode in specific where Jim Leahy, the like sheriff almost of the trailer park, he talks about I think it's in the later season. He talks about being in the pocket. it's like when he's using a breathalyzer to make sure he's like in a certain range. And it's true.
Funny.
And it is
Yeah.
so true. It's so true to that. So I feel the same way. I feel like, and that's what I'm saying, for someone who's watched you play, who knows when you're drinking, who knows when you're probably not drinking, I know when you're playing at your best. Of course, it's just noticeable, I think, for most people, right? You play with me, you know when I'm at my best, you know when I'm not.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think it's a considerable difference when you're 4 beers deep versus 6, 7 beers deep.
Yeah.
So, and that's true for me too. There are rare occasions where I'll hop on and just, for whatever reason, I'm like 8 beers deep and I just get in and I'm
You're in that pocket.
no, I'm not even in the pocket. I'm saying I'm way out of it. I'm way beyond the pocket.
Oh.
And I'm doing great. But
Oh.
most of the time, I feel like for all games, I play better generally when I am having the most fun. It's easier to have fun when you have beers for me. And so if I can have a couple beers, and this is going to go right back to that conversation about what kind of beer, what kind of situation, right? So if I'm in a situation where, let's just say, hypothetically, it's me, it's my boys, we're all hanging out downstairs, we're just playing video game, bullshitting. If I'm having 4 or 5, 6 Miller High Lifes, I could probably stay in that pocket and be great. I have to pace myself. I'll be in that pocket though. I'll be really good, and I'll just because I feel a little bit more loose. I'm having some more fun. I don't care as much. I think there's an aspect or an element to gaming where you have to be almost detached. You have to be able to just care enough to want to try, but not care enough where you're going to lose your spirits over it.
Yeah. Because if you don't care at all, you're not going to play well. So you have to kind of care a little bit.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. So I think for me, when I'm in that range, right? So like you got like, you're just right there. Like the buzz is active, but you're not drunk. You're just
yeah.
And so that's the pocket. That's where I feel like I am the most efficient if I'm going to be drinking. Anything past that, if I surpass that and I go anything beyond it, I'm probably not going to perform as well. I'll be honest. Like that's just where it's at, and I feel like it's the same for you as somebody on an outside point of view.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think for me, it's probably 3 to 5 beers. I may play better. I'm not going to say 100%, but I might play literally even better than I would normally play. But once we go past 5, I'm probably going downhill. Probably, and not 100%, like maybe.
It's also always gradual. It's always gradual. So you go from, you're on that cliff and you're right at the apex, and that's the pocket, right? You're in that perfect spot. You're like, I'm good. I got a little something going on here. I'm drinking some good beer and we're hanging out and whatever. And so you're in that like right state of mind. And then
number 2 is gone.
Number 2, I'm actually still on technically number 1. I had one earlier.
Man, Troy, you're making me look like an alcoholic over here.
I know.
Come on, man.
I'm gonna get one. We're gonna take a quick commercial break in a second. But
we got a sponsor.
D's.
What is it?
D's nuts.
Oh,
got him.
damn.
Got him.
Yeah, let's drop that sponsor.
Yeah, dude.
Can we get this as a sponsor? Milky Way. Milky Way.
What the fuck is that, dude?
Dude, I've never seen this in my life. I was at Walmart and I was like, "What is that? I gotta try it." It's okay. It's not that good.
Okay. I'm not a huge Milky Way fan. Let's just put that out.
Me neither. I'm not. I was just for some reason I thought it was cookie. Like I thought there was gonna be cookie in here, and it's not. It's just fudge. Like it's
messed up there.
I messed up.
Anyway, so I was saying it's like this snowball effect of beer, right? So you're on the top and you're like doing so well, or you feel like you're doing well.
Yeah.
And maybe the response that you're getting from the people around you is enough where you feel like, yeah, I should be feeling well. This is good. And then just if you tip over that, if you go on to the 6th or 7th beer, it's just like you slowly start to tip on that mountain. And then eventually you fall fucking fast, dude. It's just
Yo, and what if you're not having beer? What if you're drinking liquor? You know, like whiskey or whatever. It's like, dude, that you go from like you might be good for like a half hour, and then you're downhill.
To be honest, liquor hits me in such a different way. So for me, with like whiskey or rum or vodka, anything, if I drink liquor, I almost immediately think in my mind, this night is done. I'm not doing anything productive.
Video games are probably not high on the list.
I can drink beer and even strong beer, but it's just the kind of like, if it does affect me, if I drink that much where I feel like I'm even affected by it, that I don't know, in my mind, I don't count myself out. If I'm drinking liquor, I'm like, dude, this is it. This is the end, man. Like, this is where it starts and this is where it ends. I'm not going to really probably do much past this. So, liquor.
I'm not a big, recently, because I was like, let me lose some weight. My girlfriend's making fun of me, calling me fat all the time. So let me drink some vodka. So I've been drinking this. And I'm like, I'm not going to have whiskey because there's more calories in it. So I'll just have some vodka. So I've been drinking this for like a month. And don't get me wrong. If you have like 2 shots, maybe you get in that same pocket or zone you were talking about. But once you have like 3 or 4, it's just not the same, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
not the same.
Liquor, it's too temperamental. You feel almost like for a moment you have it. You're like, I'm there, right? And it's like you're perfect. And then you fall right out of it, like almost immediately. It's just it's a half a second of a feeling, and you're just back to where you were, and you're just getting drunk. And there's nothing wrong with it, of course. We all do it, but I'm just saying, if you're talking about whether or not you play better when you drink beer,
if we're talking about that,
if we're talking liquor, I'm going to say I am counting myself out of that battle every time. And
I would say for myself, 2 to 3 shots, maybe. That's it. But beer, you can play with beer for a few hours, maybe.
You can fiddle, but it goes on for only so long, and then it starts to get a little bit more serious, and then you're in that danger zone. You're like, whoa, like now things are moving too quick. That's where you got to be a little careful. I'm gonna say though, I think the same, man. I think if you're talking beer, there's a lot more room for activity. And then we're talking,
all right, Step Brothers. All right, Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
there's so much room for activities.
If we're talking Step Brothers, it's more like, that was a terrible idea. Why would you let us build bunk beds?
Yeah, that's liquor.
Like it's not the same.
I'll go with that. With that.
So, but I also, like I said, I think we also are gonna always have the most fun when you're well, I'm sorry, you're also going to play the best when you're having the most fun. I really think that's true. For me, I feel like I'm at my best. I perform. I mean, granted, if you're pissed drunk and you're just having fun with everything, you're probably not doing too great. But if we're talking just in a general sense, I think when you're hanging out with your boys and you're just bullshitting, having a good time, laughing, and really enjoying the game, whatever you're doing, that's when I feel like you're going to be at your best. And that's true probably for most things in life. When you're at your happiest and you're enjoying the time being spent, you're probably going to give it your all because it's worth doing, because you're enjoying it. You're getting something out of it, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing for video games. You sit there and you do it to get something out of it. And thankfully for people like you and myself, we do really get a lot out of it. We enjoy the community. We enjoy what the news is. We enjoy the games at our disposal and those that aren't. And we can appreciate them for what they are. But, it's just something you do. You play the game, you want to have fun, and whether that's when you're at 3 or 5 beers, it's just, just do your thing, So, but to really wrap that up in my mind, I'm going to say, to really finalize it, I'm going to say 4. 4 beers, I think, is perfect. Miller High Life, in particular. Miller High Life.
Oh.
Miller High Life in particular.
Okay, so now we're going off on a different path now.
They have to be drinking in like a certain succession. It's not it's
So
not
for
like
me, like, let's say Budweiser is to me what Stella is for you. If I had 3 Budweisers, I'm just getting going. But I would say probably anywhere from 3 to 6 Budweisers, I'll play better. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm right based on like actual like performance playing.
well, it's weird.
But a stronger beer, dude. I only had 2 of these, and I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you drink and how it hits you.
That's the scenario. That's the scenario versus type of beer thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna like, be like, oh, I feel it, but enough where I can still do shit. Not like, oh, I feel it, but now I feel it and it's bad and I'm fucked up. So,
Yeah.
but it just depends because you're not at a party drinking fucking Money by Barrier. Most likely
Yeah.
that's not happening.
Probably not.
So, and if
Probably
you
not. I
are,
think
then
that's a
you're
safe
fucking
bet.
trashed because you're probably having a lot of beers at a party.
I want to go to that party where they're just handing out those beers.
That probably would be a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. So,
but not for playing video games.
no. I mean, you play maybe like Mario Party and get fucking in a drunken fist fight over who
Dude,
had the
last
most.
time I played Mario Party, what happened? Kyle was yelling at me.
Kyle was mad. Kyle was like fucking upset. I was like, dude, like, me and Dan are fucking putting you in the trash right now, dude. Like, I'm sorry, man. Me and Dan are crushing. And the funniest thing is, like, you're sitting there and you're legitimately trying.
I was trying.
You were just past the pocket. It was gone. It was like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it only got worse because you just continually drank. So you're just like, fuck it. It's a done deal. I'm in it.
I'm in it. I'm in it now.
Yeah. But
I'm committed.
no, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. You want to just have fun, right? So if you are the kind of person where you feel like, yo, if I'm just maybe the pocket's different for everybody. It is. It's different. How you feel.
Oh, yeah.
So it's different. So maybe being in the pocket is the worst thing. There's people who do amazing things when they're pissed drunk. I don't fucking know. It's not me.
Mm.
I do terrible things when I'm pissed drunk. I'm just not trustworthy enough. But it's, I mean, you didn't trust me to begin with, but it's not the point. I'm just saying. It's
I definitely trust you. I don't know about you, Kyle. I don't know about your brother, but I trust you, dude.
Dude,
Kyle's he's a little sloppy. He's like me, and I'm not even hating on the guy because I'm like that too, man. When we're in it and we keep going, we get a little sloppy, So probably don't look for us to be the caretaker of the group because we're gonna be the one you're having to like run after to like look after.
Dude.
That's awesome.
I know all too well that that's the case. It was that night was so funny too because I was like sitting there and I'm like,
wait, what? Wait, which night are we talking about?
Oh, I was talking.
Are we talking about the one where I lost my slide?
Party. No, with the Mario Party.
Oh, okay. That was okay.
Yeah, because I was
let's not bring up that other night. That's for another day.
No. I don't even know. No,
the one where I woke up in that random room and lost my slide and phone, and we'll save that one.
We'll no, that's coming up eventually. No, I was saying that night when we were sitting there and we were playing Mario Party, and I was looking at you and thinking, man, if Kyle wasn't playing, it would be like an 8-star victory.
For the record, I may have been under the influence of more than just alcohol. It could have been caffeine.
You were on crack.
Caffeine. It could have been crack. Probably wasn't crack, but it could have been crack.
I'm going to say crack on that.
Crack is whack, yo.
It's not whack. It's like good. People get it ASAP.
Okay. Maybe I'm misinformed.
I mean, but all right, man. Well, I guess that kind of wraps up what we're talking about today.
It'll be over a beer, but we're not.
I think the motto is crack one, sit back, and get woke. I mean, that's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, that's what it is.
Get woke.
You're getting woke on these ideas.
Conversation, man. We're awakening one another's, conscious here.
Well, anyways, to wrap this up, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that bothered to come and watch the video and listen to our nonsense and really give that attention. It means a lot to us. Obviously, like he had said, we're in a very early phase of this whole thing, but it really does mean that much more for people to contribute and give us your feedback. Give us what you think.
And bear with us because it's going to be a little rough. It's going to be rough for a couple months probably until we kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So please do subscribe, like, comment, leave any kind of feedback for us. It really helps. It goes a super
If
long
you want to point out my weird ear that kind of sticks out, look at this ear. Sticks out a little bit more than this one.
I have one of those too.
Yeah, I got weird teeth.
Yeah, but you're good.
We could talk about it in the comments. Do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was great. I'm gonna say next time it'll get better. And as always, crack one, sit back, and get woke.